We're rolling. All right. Well, what's up, Caleb?
What's up? We're here.
Yeah, man. Glad to have you. Um, like you said, there's a lot going on in the world lately. I think I saw today where Trump was talking to Zelensky again, Ukraine. Um, so I just saw that there was some breaking news about I don't know. I guess they're going to continue to give them support, and they act like they're in much better shape now than they were, which is good to hear, I guess.
Can we just get this thing over with?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. It's been going on for a long time, and we're still sending weapons and support. And
Yeah, we should be sending ultimatums. Just be like, guys, get this done. Like, this needs to be done.
yeah,
How many years is this now?
No more weapons, no more money, just ultimatums. Just
That's
say,
right.
guys, Vladimir Putin, Volodymyr Zelensky, sit down, both of y'all, get to this daggum table. Let's sign something and get this over with. This has gone on for far too long now.
Where
yeah.
are we at? 5 years now? Somewhere
Yeah.
around there?
Yeah.
It's been going on for 5 years. I didn't even
Well,
realize.
and this stuff spans back way further than
Right.
that, the centuries. I mean, this conflict has gone. I mean, Vladimir Putin talked about it with Tucker Carlson. I mean, he went back to centuries ago, talking about how long this has been brewing. But it finally came to a head a few years ago, and now we've been having ongoing war, ongoing fighting. And the problem with ongoing war is that it's profitable for these the weapons manufacturers, sometimes political leaders, people getting kickbacks. And I'm not making any specific allegations, but
I know there's a lot of them.
yeah, and
There's a lot of
I'm not going down any of those rabbit holes, but as long as war remains profitable, people are considered collateral damage. Like the powers that be don't care if people die. I mean, people say, oh, casualties happen in war, but we shouldn't have a callous attitude toward that. Especially as Christians, every life matters. Every individual is important. God created all of us equally, and we shouldn't be so flippant about people dying in a war, especially when American companies, military arms, manufacturers are profiting. We shouldn't be callous about deaths.
Yeah,
And honestly, back to the actual root of it all, do you see a benefit? I get how Russia is viewed. I get that. I
Right.
get how Putin is viewed.
Right.
Say Ukraine just wiped the floor with them and won and everything. With what's the benefit to us of a Ukraine victory here?
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, see, this is what I don't understand what we're really.
And I'm sure some talking head could come here and say, well, of course it's a big win for the United States because it advances our agenda globally. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's a real tangible advantage for us for a regime change, because look at all the regime changes in the Middle East and in the Horn of Africa. How did those turn out for us?
Right.
Yeah, we toppled over the government in Libya, and look at how it's now in Venezuela. Look at Venezuela now. I mean, it's not like we're creating friends by toppling government. So I don't see if there's a net benefit to it at all. I mean, again, someone who's more versed in geopolitical affairs could probably tell me 35 reasons why I'm wrong and why I'm ignorant and don't know anything. But I could just point back to not long history, like recent history under the Obama administration, and seeing how regime change in other countries at the hands of the United States, even back to the Bush administration, how it didn't benefit the United States by any objective measure.
Right.
yeah. My only guess would be, and this is just a guess, is that mainly the powers that be of the United States don't want Russia and China getting stronger and bigger. I mean, I would imagine that accounts for a large part of it.
Well, who's to say the Ukrainians won't end up siding with? They're not part of NATO.
Yeah.
I mean, who's to say China doesn't swoop in and offer, hey, we'll give you this. I mean,
they could.
There's a lot of uncertainty there. I'm not alleging that would happen. I'm not saying Volodymyr Zelensky would let that happen, but I mean, who's to say?
Yeah.
The same thing kind of with, I mean, nobody here, including me, wanted Hugo Chavez in control in what's
Venezuela?
Venezuela. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Anyway, but now at least the citizens there are much worse off.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he was a horrible guy, but apparently he knew enough to at least spread some food around.
Right.
That vacuum that created, there's guys in charge that don't know what they're doing, and they're in a bad spot.
I mean, Iraq hasn't gotten any better.
Sure, sure. I mean,
Afghanistan hasn't gotten
absolutely
any better.
same thing.
Libya,
Was it horrible with
Syria.
Saddam Hussein in charge? Absolutely, it
Oh, no
was.
doubt.
But they're much worse off. You know,
Syria, Bashar al-Assad. I mean, what's going on in Syria now?
Right.
The endless civil war. I mean, at this point, is American involvement even beneficial in these overseas affairs?
right?
In my opinion, as far as the Middle East, and we won't ever do this, I don't think, and we probably shouldn't, but in my mind, the only way that you would stabilize most of the Middle East would be for somebody to stay over there for hundreds of years, and that's that's never going to happen.
And it's
Nor should
crazy.
it probably.
To me, it's crazy. And you all get your opinion on this too. It's crazy that as a younger person, I always thought that, naively, that my government had my best interest, that truly had my best interest at heart. And as you get older, you understand, no, there's just a few people in bureaucratic positions that want power. They want to be able to pull strings. And there's really, I believe, honestly, do you believe there's anybody at the top that could actually give you tangible reasons why they want regime changes in places other than,
Well,
we think this
and
is going to
power.
be slightly better for us? I mean,
No.
really,
No, I don't. It doesn't make any sense. I don't. And again, someone could come and try to convince me, and I'll lend a listening ear to anybody. I will. And if someone can tell me, here's why, for the United States, it's beneficial for the Ukrainians to win this war against Russia. Here's why we need to back the Taiwanese in its ongoing struggle against China. Here's why we need to back a myriad of Middle Eastern countries, one possibly being Israel. Here's why we need to support all these entities, these countries, these leaders to advance our interest overseas. But I always want to get back to the root of that question, though, or a root of that matter. What is our interest? Or what
Right.
are our interests overseas?
Well,
Why are we so interested in overseas?
Sure. I've always been one of the things that has been really brought to light, especially in the Middle East, is the different cultures. You
Right.
think you have this image that the minute people are given a democratic choice, that they're all going to go out and choose these great leaders who are going to be for their benefit and that kind of thing. And it just doesn't happen that
No.
way. Most of them have not had a choice for so long that they really don't even know what to do with it. And if you have,
And that's dangerous.
right.
That's how you have actual authoritarians rise to power, because they give people a voice. They give them, they appeal to the struggle of the people, right? You've been downtrodden, you've been manipulated, abused, you've been left in the dark for so long. I'm going to come up here and change this, and I'm going to do it by violent force. But then they don't realize that violent force doesn't just stop with revolution. It continues even
Right.
into the leadership.
And in many instances, they come right in and act the same as the person they replaced.
Oh, yeah,
And-
because power corrupts.
Right.
I mean, we have endless biblical evidence of that.
Sure.
And so, yeah, it's not like you elect someone or appoint someone to office and that person is just suddenly going to be a noble, righteous, worthy, and humble servant. But no.
Yeah, wealth and power, in my opinion, just amplify who you already are. Like
Yeah,
That's right.
It's not going to drastically change you.
The
Well,
love of-
Kevin, introduce our guest today.
Yeah, I knew you were going. I started to tell you not to do that.
I'm
this time.
sorry.
But yeah, this is Caleb Sailors, a journalist with Super Talk,
Mhm.
Mississippi.
Super Talk Mississippi.
So we're glad to have him with us. I'm sure I should have gotten some more information on him, but we'll post it in the description. Or Caleb, if you'd like, you can share some more information.
I mean, that's
but-
pretty much it, man. I work for Super Talk Mississippi, statewide radio media outlet here in the Magnolia State, and I'm a follower of Jesus Christ before anything,
Amen.
above everything. And so
Amen.
that's how I brand myself. I'm just a guy. Honestly, I don't think highly of myself or my platform or anything. I just want to glorify God and live His will for my life.
If I could go into that just a little bit, how long have you actually? How did you get started in media? Or
So I got to call my boss that I now have, JT Mitchell, my news director. We have a mutual friend. This was a couple of years ago. I've been Super Talk 3 years now. This was right at a little over 3 years ago. I get a call from him. Hey man, we have a job opening. And he told me what I would be doing. He said, "Would you be interested?" I said, "Sure." And he goes, "Okay, well, come interview, and we'll talk to you and see if you'd fit here." So I go interview, and I had a job at the time. I was working in sales and service, and so I had a stable full time job. It wasn't like I was desperately looking for something. And then I go interview. The bosses loved me, and I get a call the next week. They went with another candidate, hired somebody else. That's fine. She had more credentials than I did in media, and it had a better background in that sphere. And so, cool, whatever. Not the end of the world. But it was like God was giving me some confidence that I might be going to a different chapter in life. And then, I mean, maybe 2 weeks after that, I get a call from him again. Hey, we're opening another position. We like you. We want you. Come work for us. And so then I took the job, and I've off to the races since
Sure.
then.
Well, how have you? Well, I guess I could ask it this way: Are you going to continue in media? Do you see that for the foreseeable future as something your pursuit of is going to?
Yeah, that's a good question. I get asked about, what are your goals? What's your end goal? What do you want to work for ESPN? Do you want to work for Fox News or CNN? One of these major outlets? Do you want to work for, what do you want to do in life? And honestly, I just, the Bible says outwardly we're decaying, but inwardly we're being restored day by day.
Sure.
And so I'm honestly just looking at the day by day. Does that mean I'm being derelict and kind of preparing for the future? Absolutely not. I make sure I take care of myself, make sure I have everything in its order, but I'm very grateful for where I am now, and so I'm not looking elsewhere. Now, if God offers me another opportunity, I won't say, "No, God, I'm cool here." I'll entertain whatever the Lord has for me, but right now, I'm happy with where I am, and I don't see myself moving for the foreseeable future. Now, again, if something happens, yeah, I'll go where the Lord leads me. But honestly, my answer to that is I just live day by day.
Sure. If you had your choice of genre in media right now, just out of curiosity, would you? Is there one that sticks out above another?
I'll let you guess on that one.
Well, I know you're a sports fan.
Sports.
If you had a
sports.
chance to jump into sports, would you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I do, but if I could do that full time, oh yeah, absolutely. I
gotcha.
love sports. Now, and I enjoy politics to a degree. I mean, I do more state and local politics than I do national politics. Now I keep up with our federal delegation, our Congress people, et cetera. But and I'm versed in what's happening politically. That's part of the reason why I have the job I have, is because I'm kind of well rounded in what I know, both politically and on the sports sphere, because both are so important in Mississippi. Both intersect. I mean, the most obviously, we remember the Sabbath and we worship the Lord on Sunday, but other than that, the most important day of the week this time of year is Saturday, because the college football
Right.
season. And so I'm well versed in what's happening in Oxford, Starkville, Hattiesburg, et cetera. And then now when we get in the beginning of the year, the legislative session starts. I'm well versed in what happens in the Capitol. And so, yeah, it's kind of funny because I enjoy that I get to do a little bit of everything. But if I had my druthers, sports for sure.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, sports does seem like it'd be a pretty cool gig doing that full time. So I can who would it be ESPN? Is that
Wherever,
or just
wherever,
whatever?
wherever God has me, man. I've kind
Yeah.
of, I really admire what the people at Sports Spectrum do a lot. Interviewing athletes and coaches and talking to them about their, not only what they do on the field, but their relationship with Christ. And so, if I were to venture out and kind of go, not say independent, but go my own way in the media, it would be to do that, to talk about, how your relationship with God. I want to hear about these guys. I mean, because I watch the game, I see what they did on the field. I mean, I can ask a guy, how cool was it to throw 4 touchdowns today? I mean, everybody, yeah, that was pretty cool, man. I loved that. But
Hey, Jack, can you pause this just for a second? I'm sorry, Kayla. We're rolling.
What if
Okay.
I can tell you this? I don't believe that politics wise and religion wise you would fit in at ESPN and stay there for any length of time.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd fit in a lot of places, honestly.
I'm gonna
'Cause
tell you
kind of
what.
an anomaly.
There are some people that are really left, and even they're not left enough for
Yeah.
ESPN.
And then there's Keith Olbermann.
My goodness, have you seen the latest?
Oh yeah, he's deranged. We need to pray for him, but yeah, but and it's cool though. I like being in places where I'm different than everybody else, especially ideologically, because I see it as a gospel spreading
Sure.
opportunity. When, like Paul said, when I was around the Greeks, I became a Greek. When I was around the Jew, I became a Jew, and when a Romans, or the Romans a Roman. Not because he indulged in their sin or in any of their vices, but for the sake of sharing the gospel. And so again, if God gives me an opportunity to be out in the witnessing field, I'll be more than happy to go there.
Sure. People like, and I can, and it feels even weird to be able to be complimenting him. However, as far as speaking goes, Keith Olbermann is very gifted.
Oh,
He's a
yeah.
gifted speaker. It's just that, it's crazy that even that his ideas are so far left that even the far left people won't take him anymore. I mean, he's just so
He's unhireable.
it's weird. It's
He's unemployable.
when he was, I'll be honest with you, when he was on ESPN, he was enjoyable. He was
Oh,
really
man.
enjoyable.
His football recaps, encapsulation of games. He was the best, man.
And when you bring in
Him and
politics,
Stuart
though,
Scott, of course.
oh yeah,
Of course, the late Stuart Scott, rest his soul. But I mean, these guys, Chris Berman, who's still on, these guys were the best in the business. And again, you're right. Olbermann was one of them.
back in the Dan Patrick, back. I mean,
Yeah.
they were, those days were the golden era.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, how do y'all feel about the Jimmy Kimmel thing?
He shouldn't be back on air. But I mean, here's the thing. Disney can say that they punished him for a weekend,
Right.
and then dare Trump to do something. So I mean, they're really, honestly, Obama inserted himself in this,
Yeah.
and he said that the network shouldn't be bowing to him. So Disney said, "Okay, we won't." So
Yeah,
now it's kind of a tit for tat now, and it's really a fight against Trump and Obama right now, is what it is.
Well, and I think tonight his ratings will be pretty high because it's the first night back. It'll be a big big spectacle, and then after a week, it'll fizzle out, and then his ratings will go back to near nothingness.
There won't be a retraction or an apology, and
But that's
I
fine.
can
But
just
the-
about guarantee that.
But the good news, but in my opinion here, and this is me looking from an outsider's point of view, the thing I see about this though is that people are exposing themselves as who they really are. People are exposing their true values, their true virtues, what they
Mhm.
really think about people who are not like them, who don't share the same viewpoints as them. They're exposing that evil that lies deep within, and Jimmy Kimmel clearly did that last week. And him being suspended for a few days, whether you argue if you argue whether or not it's enough, that I'm not going to get into those realms, but I will say, I think the ratings will speak for themselves. Maybe not tonight and tomorrow because it's all fresh and new, and he's going to be the big thing in town because he's back, everybody.
Well, people tonight, they're going to want to see what he says.
Yeah, and they're going to tune, and people that don't agree with him, people on the right will tune in just to hear what he has to say. So that'll give a spike in ratings, and Disney could do the I told you so, and the one side could have its victory lap, but it'll be a very, very short, very temporary victory lap because then we'll get to next week and people will say, yeah, he's making the same two jokes over and over again, and it's just not funny.
That's right.
I'm glad you mentioned what you mentioned a second ago, though, Caleb, because although I'm not, I don't typically watch the Kimmel show. I mean, those of you that watch us know that we lean right by now. But I do, however, no matter whether you're left or right, I'm definitely pro full free speech, and I know I think a lot of people would probably disagree with me on that now, but even if you speak against things that I believe in or whatever, I fully believe in that First Amendment. And
Right.
I hate how in recent history we've gotten to a point where it's like, well, except for private companies, like I call BS on that. I don't agree with that at all. I mean, I know companies want to be able to manage what they have going on, but I believe free speech means just that, no exceptions. That's just my opinion on it.
Right, but I do understand a private business's right to reserve caution.
Yeah.
If an employee is going around saying things that are going to compromise the company and hurt profits, I mean that's not just putting that one individual in jeopardy. It's putting the entire operation in jeopardy and potentially thousands of jobs. I mean, I'm thinking of Disney right now. Disney, ABC. How many people are employed at Disney and ABC? But if that, the Kimmel Show causes these local networks, because Sinclair, which is the largest local affiliate of ABC channels, ABC networks, was demanding an apology, was demanding something to be done by Disney in regard to what Jimmy Kimmel had to say. And they're thinking about the local markets that they serve, the Jackson, Mississippi's. We're not a Sinclair, but the Birmingham, Alabamas, the Baltimore, Marylands, the Nashvilles, that or even the smaller networks in the suburbs that are being overlooked. It's not just a Disney ABC. There's all these affiliates.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at these local stations, there's employees, and if that local market is losing advertisers, losing viewers, losing people because they can just go, okay, we'll watch NBC, we'll watch Fox, we'll watch any of these other networks. If they're losing ad revenue, again, working in radio, I see this from a different perspective. Man, all those networks are going to go down and people are going to lose their jobs. So it's not like Jimmy Kimmel's being suspended because, oh, he hurt somebody's feelings. Like people could actually lose their jobs over what he said, over the backlash of what he said. Because again, if these local markets, these local Sinclair markets or any of the other affiliates that carry ABC stations, if they're not, if ABC, if the figureheads there aren't proactive and aren't taking care of business, making sure that harmful things aren't said, then people can actually lose their jobs. And so there is a domino effect there.
What's your opinion of just shifting gears a little bit? What's your opinion of the way people get their news, the way the media is headed now, which is really largely online?
Yeah.
The Tucker Carlsons, the Megyn Kellys, the Daily Wires, the Candace Owens, and largely like Turning Point, places like that. Really looks like the future is headed that way. Is what happens? What do you think? The big picture is what happens to the networks? Are they going to continue along like they are, or are they going to change? What's going to happen there?
They're gonna have to start telling the truth.
Well,
well, and adapting because there are platforms on like social media. If you go to X or Facebook, YouTube, and streamers that have shows like this one, and these people are just spreading bold-faced lies. They're just filled with partisan beliefs, and both sides unfortunately do it, but one more than the other, I would argue, but much more than the other. But I think that these national major conglomerates, Fox, NBC, CNN, et cetera, they're going to have to adapt. And I think they're trying to, in a sense, making everything more multimedia. I mean, even here locally, we're doing that. Like all of our radio stuff, we're putting them on, putting our news clips on Spotify, Apple Music, multiple platforms. Our interviews on network shows are going on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and we're making sure that our news can be reached on any platform so that we can reach the maximum amount of people.
And the reason I ask is this was a poll not too really long ago that showed that the majority of people, by a fairly large margin, were getting their news from YouTube.
Yeah.
And I know that some of that is clips from the networks. I get that.
Right.
But largely,
30-second blips.
right. But largely, people are getting their large portion of news from different areas. They're not going to the ABCs or the CBSs or the.
I mean, how many people, like especially young people, how many young people do you think are just sitting on their couch going, man, I can't wait what Greg Gutfield has to say on the 5 tonight.
Right.
Man, I can't wait to hear what Lawrence O'Donnell has to. I don't think anybody is waiting to hear what Lawrence O'Donnell has to say. If we're being honest. Or man, I can't wait what Wolf Blitzer has to say today. That's someone I have a lot of respect for, and nobody's doing that. Nobody my age is doing it. I'm not even doing that, Chris. I work in media, and I know very well that people aren't just turning on their radios going, oh, what's Caleb from Super Talk got to say at the top of the hour? Some of our older listeners, and we have younger listeners that do that too, especially during like our sports show. But that's why we have to adapt.
And one of those things I feel like is, especially because of the things that happened to like Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly.
Right.
We know that if you tune them in on the YouTubes on their own show, you're going to get exactly what they think because there's not a network behind them demanding that they have a certain opinion, and
that was the best thing that could have happened to Tucker Carlson when Fox let him go. And mind you, let's compare that to Jimmy Kimmel, by the way. When Jimmy Kimmel got suspended, oh, it's the worst day ever for free speech in our country. I can't believe this would happen. We literally live in an authoritarian regime. But when Tucker gets ousted by Fox, what a wonderful, glorious day. What a beautiful day of celebration. Right. But that was a blessing in disguise when he got fired by Fox.
Yeah, because now he's got, what's it called, the Tucker Carlson Network?
Right.
Like he's got a website.
And he's blown up.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's blown up.
And one of the things that I get, people also, they say the same thing. They will praise it when it happens for their side, even on our side. But what people don't understand is when you start policing what the truth is, then you're left with, well, who's deciding what the truth is?
Right.
And you just get into dangerous territory.
Yep.
One of the things that scares me sometimes is, well, what's one of the things that Trump did the other day that people were praising? As far as limiting free speech.
I know he was telling Pam Bondi to go after people, and then he was also talking about how he wants to silence his enemies.
Well, I know what it was. It was declaring Antifa terrorist
Oh
organization.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I hate to. I don't even like to mention this, but let's say we have a real left leaning Democrat gets in office, and he decides, well, I don't like what churches are saying. I'm going to say that churches are terrorist organizations.
right.
What's to stop him from doing that?
Yeah.
See, it's a slippery slope, and I just hate getting in those tit for tats because it's always going to get worse.
Right.
Yeah, Caleb makes a good point about the domino effect thing, but at the same time, the reason I'm so strong on my views on free speech is, I have the military background, so really for me it's the blood cost over the years that but I there it is a good point about
I
the
absolutely
domino.
unequivocally support free speech. I am a free speech absolutist.
I know.
But I understand if a business terminates someone, I think about it, if a restaurant owner has to fire a waiter because the waiter is saying derogatory things
Yeah,
toward
you're essentially
customers.
a representative of for them.
No, it can cause a lot of damage to a business for sure. I definitely get that. I guess my hope is
But I don't think that person should be prosecuted for saying, if someone, wanted to call me, if I'm at a restaurant, let's say we're all eating at a restaurant and the waiter just for whatever reason just calls me a lousy, no good, lazy sack of crud, son of a gun, and gets fired for it. I don't think that person should go to jail, but I definitely think that's a good thing for the ownership to say, hey, this person shouldn't represent us anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we don't want our other employees to to lose their jobs. We don't want our business to go under and cause other people to lose their jobs. It's more about protecting a business, protecting other people's jobs than, telling someone they can't speak freely.
Yeah, it's damage control to an extent.
Right.
I'm definitely
That person still has the right to say whatever he or she wants to say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm definitely for the prosecution side of it. There being a really high bar that you have to, you have to meet.
You have to incite violence.
Right. Well, just this past week, some are calling. I've actually seen some online people that have a fairly large following, calling for people like Oberman, calling for people like Destiny to be arrested for things they've said, that they were actually calling those. I think this meets the threshold. I mean, I think that they're saying those kind of things,
Right.
but I don't know. I really want it to be high.
It has to be explicit. Like you have to say, hey, I want this individual group of people to go target this individual group of people and commit this act of violence.
Right.
It's not like someone, shouting fire in a movie theater, which is bad, and you shouldn't be able to do that. And the movie theater staff should be able to remove you for doing something like that. And you can't shout bomb in an airport. Of course not. Right.
Yeah.
But the bar for someone to be imprisoned for a free speech violation, would have to come at like no reasonable doubt, rather, excuse me, and an actual legitimate call to violence.
Well, I'll tell you this, I was pleasantly surprised that YouTube has largely demonetized Destiny, and I didn't really think that was going to happen.
Right.
They're extremely left leaning, and I'll tell you this. If you're left leaning and YouTube has demonetized you, you're bad. I mean, because they just don't do that.
Well, and again, YouTube doesn't want to lose viewership, doesn't want people going over to Rumble,
right?
Because that's one thing that's beautiful about capitalism is the free market. Well, there's always going to be competition, and if you're not doing a good job and you're not having a service that's rendered acceptable or pleasing, someone will go somewhere else.
And I'll tell you this too.
Look, what is right across every Walgreens? What is right across the street from every Walgreens?
CVS.
A CVS.
That's right.
Every time. And so if you don't like your prescription at Walgreens, you walk on right across the street. CVS will take care of you.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I wish that Rumble would take off. It largely, at least like YouTube, has not. I wish it would.
Yeah.
But
it's there though. It's available.
Right. One of the things, and I really think, just to my, I don't exactly know how all the ins and outs of how it works. However, to a large extent, I don't understand why YouTube has not done more demonetizing, because they still get to advertise. It's just they don't have to give you a portion of the money.
Right.
I don't know why they haven't done that more, because it's honestly to their advantage to demonetize people.
Right. Yeah.
Don't say that.
No, it is. It is.
I know, but I'm just like,
they get to advertise all they want.
Yeah.
And just not give you a portion of it.
No, that's true. And they shouldn't be able to do it to
But then you can take
But
your services elsewhere, though.
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
And then you can go to Rumble.
Right.
And if you have a big enough following, people will follow you to Rumble.
And I think of people like, well, let's talk about Steven Crowder for a second.
Crowder, I was thinking about Mug Club.
He moved largely until recently everything over to Rumble.
Mhm.
He still has tenfold the followers on YouTube, that he
YouTube,
does
yeah.
on Rumble. I don't know what it is, as far as if it was just that YouTube was really one of the first and that's what took off and everybody
Yeah.
gravitated to that.
It's the household name.
It's just that, you know, and I'll be honest, also some of the controls and that kind of thing, the way that it's laid out, I like the ease of use of YouTube. I wish that Rumble was a little bit better. I have a membership there. I rarely go there just because, you know, it's my routine to.
Yeah, YouTube's more convenient.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Well, it's still, you know, going to have more creators, the bigger platform.
But
Right,
yeah,
so-
MySpace was the preeminent social media
Yeah.
platform, but where is it now?
Yeah.
That's right. Well, you look at the British guy, the Russell, what's his name?
Russell Brand.
Man, he's a huge ambassador for them. He won't use YouTube at all.
Yeah,
And
Rumble. He's a Rumble guy.
Yeah, that's right. More people like that did things like that, it would get bigger, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
It might just take a straw that breaks a camel's back, but it seems like YouTube is kind of rolling back some of the things it's done and bringing. It's under pressure to bring back some of the people it's demonetized or banned. Well, maybe we'll see YouTube veer to the side of free speech again.
And
I think I was. Oh, go ahead.
No,
Chris.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say. I think I was telling you, or I was telling somebody the other day. There's this channel called like Police Activity, and I believe it's on YouTube. And
Right.
I remember the creator of that talking about how he won't get monetized, and that channel gets hundreds of thousands, if not millions,
That's
of
right.
views. And it's always showing really bad interactions of people shooting at cops. And I think it's because he prefers not to censor everything. That might be part of the problem
Right.
that's preventing him from being monetized. But I mean, yeah.
Well, you know, to a large extent, he shows the bad interactions of bad cops, and that's part of the problem. Whenever you show law enforcement in a bad light, the left tends to not like that. Well, I say they tend not. They don't want cops at all, but they don't want They don't want you to do anything that's going to cause you to have second thoughts or not believe our government.
Right.
You know, and you know, that's one of the things that really gets under my skin. People in authority who abuse their power, do whatever they want to do. There was a story about that just the other day.
They need to be exposed.
That's right. A cop in Laurel lied on the stand, perjured himself according to his own body cam video.
Yeah.
And there were no repercussions for it. And he said,
Qualified immunity.
That's right. The lawyer actually said, look, you're under oath. He said, I know. And he went ahead and contradicted himself on his own video that he recorded, largely because he knew there were going to be no repercussions. Now, you and I do that. Guess what happens to us?
We're
We're going to jail.
Yeah.
And it's just, regardless of the way you look at it, it's
We don't
not,
have qualified
right.
immunity.
It's not right.
No, it's not. And I love and respect our members of law enforcement, but that doesn't mean you get to be a bully with a badge.
That's right. That's absolutely
Doesn't.
right.
Yeah. No, everybody has
You're
to
a
be.
citizen just like the rest of us.
That's right.
Yeah, everybody has to be personally accountable for what they do, for sure. And police are no different. But that being said, yeah, I love police and soldiers, and I think the world of them. But you've always got some bad ones in any organization, including and especially sometimes the police.
All of us serve in our church too, and so we see it. But like with a pastor, being a pastor doesn't give you a rite of passage to just be below board. You still have to be above board, even because we see pastors, people who call themselves pastors. I don't want to use that word flippantly. Who abuse their power, who use the church as an arm of making money, a
That's right.
financial gain, or a manipulation to galvanize the masses to believe something that's not actually biblically accurate. We see that with that great authority comes a lot of power and comes a lot of influence. And I mean, obviously, we know that biblically there are strict punishments, like the Lord will deal with those who lead others astray. But it's the same thing as a law enforcement officer, someone in that position of power, even with the pastor, because we see this on a firsthand basis every weekend. There's a lot of authority that comes with that, a lot of influence that comes with
Sure.
that.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're using it for the wrong reasons, you really can not get away with a lot of people, but I've seen instances of pastors who were clearly in the wrong, clearly did something wrong, but they had people so brainwashed, they'd defend them no matter what.
Sure.
Oh, the Bible says not to judge, or oh, well, he's a man of God. He's just because he's a pastor doesn't mean he's not going to make mistakes. Oh, the enemy's attacking him. It's like, yeah, the enemy attacks all of us. Yeah, we're all called to be sons and daughters of God. Yeah, I mean, we all sin and fall short of God's glory, but that doesn't mean one person's sin should be excused while everybody else's should be held to a different standard. I mean, that's but in doing that and giving qualified immunity to law enforcement and even members of the military, we're saying that, hey, yeah, you can act up. That's fine. You get some infractions here. That's cool. Like you're held to a different standard than citizens. Now, do I understand that police are going to be in different situations, like high stress situations that may involve firearm shootings, and so there will be gray areas where a judge will have to determine whether or not that officer was acting appropriately based off of his or her better judgment. Of course, and I don't think we should punish an officer who may have done something in the heat of the moment in a situation that was incredibly stressful, but the officer didn't divert from his or her training, didn't do
Sure.
anything malicious. But in the event that something malicious was done, absolutely should be held to the same standard that everybody else should. And I say that speaking of watching pastors growing up,
Oh, sure.
some with that were well intended and made mistakes, and you have grace on them. You say, you know what, you didn't mean to make that mistake. I know your heart's in the right place. Or some who just blatantly and outrageously blaspheme the gospel for personal gain.
Sure.
I don't know who you'd be talking about on that. No, I think we spoke about this another time, but yeah,
That rhymes with bowl,
Yeah.
ghosting,
I feel the same.
Fleevin Kurdick.
Yeah.
Caleb, I know you're short on time.
Yeah, I gotta run in a minute.
The news never stops, but tell us some stuff that's going on, some things you're working on right now.
Yeah, a lot of things going on. So there's a big push to pass school choice in Mississippi, and I can't divulge too much right now. There's a federal push to for school choice to be kind of the norm nationally. Trump administration is trying to roll back the Department of Education and give more power to the states, and a lot of states, especially Republican states, are we see it all around Mississippi. Mississippi hasn't done it, but a lot have passed school choice, which is a mechanism where parents aren't confined to their zip code, right? If you live here, I live in the city of Jackson, but let's say the city of Jackson the Jackson Public School District wasn't the right school district for my child. I have a child with some sort of, not learning disability, because there are things in place where parents can send their kids to different schools through ESAs, but I wanted to send my kid to a different school district. Well, maybe the Clinton school district receives the kid and I could send my kid there. You can't do that in Mississippi right now. So there's a push to legalize that, but there's also a strong push against it too.
Yeah.
Strong resistance to it too, mainly from unions, parents campaign, and some of the public school districts too, saying like, hey, no, we don't want it's not about the children, by the way. It's not about the well-being of the children. It's about money.
Yeah.
It's about the root of all kinds of evil. It's about money. Well, we don't want public money going to private schools. They're so terrified that the parents will get a voucher for their individual students, individual children, and that money will follow them no matter where they go. So if that's $7,000 per child, that parent can use that to pay for private school. And a lot of public schools are saying, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. We can't do that. But the counter argument to that is we should do that, and that'll make you better your school district so that parents aren't looking to up and leave. But that's going on, and we're going to see a push for that. I believe in the legislative session that comes up in January, unless Governor Tate Reeves says unless he calls a special session, which he told us that he's not ruling it out, but I don't see that happening. I think we'll wait till January to have a regular session, because special sessions cost a lot of money for the taxpayers. But other things going on, man. We got a big football game Saturday, Ole Miss and LSU, Mississippi State and Tennessee. That'll be kind of the first real test for the Bulldogs. I know they played Arizona State, stormed the field. I don't think Arizona State's that good. So we'll see where Mississippi State is in terms of its growth over the last year with Jeff Lebby went 2-10, and now
Speaking of that game, what do you think about Tennessee right now?
Tennessee's good, and Aguilar has been really good at quarterback, and I think Nico Iamaleava leaving, going to UCLA, one was a bad decision on his end because UCLA doesn't have a coach now, and that team might actually go 0-12. And Tennessee benefited. It was cool to see the system working, what's right playing out.
Right.
A kid was greedy, wanting more money, and didn't get exactly what he wanted, so he just upped and left because he was pampered, used to getting his way, and it's not working out for him. That's a good kind of situation, for a good learning lesson for other people to see, like, hey, sometimes you need to stick things out even when everything's not going your way.
Sure.
And things were going his way. He just went to the playoff last year. Now he's going to be on a team that's probably winless. And then in Ole Miss's regard, I mean, this is a huge game. I mean, obviously, Ole Miss LSU is a bitter rivalry. There's no love lost between these two programs. I mean, there would be some nasty words and messages exchanged between the fan bases on Saturday in Oxford, but Ole Miss has been running the backup quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss. We've talked about it ad nauseum, Chris, and he's through 2 games, over 800 yards, 6 touchdowns, and I don't see him not getting the starting nod. One, I don't think Austin Simmons is healthy.
More importantly, without turnovers.
Right, with no turnovers. And that's what Lane Kiffin has emphasized as his best attribute through these 2 games. It's not only has he played good football, moved the ball down the field and scored in the red zone, he's done it without making mistakes. Austin Simmons, the starter, through his first 2 games before getting injured, had thrown 4 interceptions, and all 4 in the first half. And that's, can't do that against a team like LSU. They'll pounce and get an insurmountable lead. And the next thing you know, you're looking up at the scoreboard in the fourth quarter and you're down 2-3 scores and there's only 5 minutes left. So it's kind of a dilemma for Kiffin, though, when Simmons does eventually get healthy. I don't think he'll be 100% by Saturday. What do we do? Do we keep the kid that has multiple years of eligibility and roll with him and hope he develops into the talented arm that he is, that the guy that we know, the potential that we know he has? Or do we go with the guy that's contributing to winning right now? But it'll be a good litmus test to see, one, if Trinidad Chambliss's level of success is sustainable, right? LSU's defense is one of the best in the country, probably the best in the conference right now, other than Oklahoma maybe. See what he's capable of, and if he's making plays and leading Ole Miss to a win over LSU, it's a big decision for Lane Kiffin to make. And even if Ole Miss loses a close one, I mean, it's still a tough decision for the head coach to make. I'll tell you what, I'm not saying I envy Lane Kiffin's money. I'm not, driven by money. I wouldn't turn it down, though. But I do not envy this decision he's about to have to make on the quarterback front. But mainly that in the sports world, and then school choice in the political realm, and just a lot of stuff going on. The student at Delta State last week that was found hanging on campus, still trying to figure out everything that happened there. Obviously, the state medical examiner's office has said that there's no signs of foul play at the time, and we're going to get the toxicology report here soon. Now we've got Colin Kaepernick inserting himself into the situation, paying for the independent autopsy, and we'll see the results of that. But the independent autopsy will come after the body's released by the state medical examiner's office. But I would encourage anybody, though, just to pray for Trey Reed's family, the Delta State community, and the Grenada community. He went to high school in Grenada. I'm very well versed with the Grenada community, and I just, it's a horrible situation. A lot of people rush to conclusions, and I would argue are incorrect conclusions, but that's not my place to say because I'm not investigating this.
Well, regardless of what happened, a family lost a loved one,
right?
And it's never a good situation.
And we need to pray for that family and pray for that community, that God would perform majestic healing.
Sure.
Yeah, whether it's suicide or homicide, it's bad.
Sure.
And I'll definitely be praying.
Caleb, before you get out of here, is there any indication, or have you heard where does back to the school choice? Where does Reeves lean on this?
He's 100% for it.
Okay,
he's all for it. Because he even said he came on one of our shows too with Richard Cross and talked about it. He said, President Trump is leading the way for school choice right now, and he's going to follow the president's lead on that. But yeah, he's encouraging Mississippi to pass school choice. So right now, House Speaker Jason White is 100% for it. I mean, he's championing that cause right now. Governor Tate Reeves said he would sign it into law, and now the holdup has been in the Senate. Where will Delbert Hosemann lean? And I know he's for some kind of school choice. There's there was something in the One Big Beautiful Bill that was passed that creates this voucher system where you could donate money to nonprofits and get a tax refund on it. And then that can be used on vouchers to give kids in the poverty level, I believe up to 300% of the poverty level. They could use that money to send them to a private school or use it to get them better education materials, etc. He said he would sign that. He would sign off on that immediately, day one in the legislative session. Now, when it comes to eliminating the zip code requirements and universal school choice, I'm not sure. I would say he probably is against that. He's historically been against that. He's not really taking it to a floor vote. So I think the House and Governor are 100% yeses, and the Senate's up in the air. And I will tell you point blank, I don't think school choice will pass this coming
Wow.
session.
Another question before you go, just a quick prediction from you. Who's our next governor?
Ooh, if he gets in the race, he talked like he was going to. If he gets in the race, Tommy Duff.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Quick explanation, if you don't mind. I don't know who that is.
So Tommy Duff is Southern Tire Mart founder. He's one of 2 billionaires. In Mississippi.
Duff. I recognize that Duff name.
And he spoke at the Rankin County Republican annual meeting at the Sheridan in Flowwood a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. It's been a minute.
They're brothers, right?
Yeah, him and the other billionaire in Mississippi is his brother, Jim. And kind of cool that the 2 billionaires in Mississippi are brothers. But, you know, he spoke, and he's not really been involved in politics until recently. He has behind the scenes donated, but he created a political action committee, kind of helped steer the election in Gulfport in the Republicans' favor. Because Stacey Abrams and the Democrats really flooded that race with money, trying to flip that seat blue. Well, Duff's efforts kind of helped spur that movement and keep that seat red. Well, he's speaking more politically now. He gave a speech at that Republican dinner in Rankin County.
And how is politics?
And right, he's more right leaning. But he didn't get into social issues as much. The only kind of thing he said socially was that he didn't have a DEI policy at Southern Tire Mart. That someone asked him about that. He's like, well, we don't have anything like that.
Yeah.
He said we just hire the best people, the most qualified. Like, we really don't care who you are, where you come from. But the other political things he is focused on: economic development, developing the Delta, developing Southwest Mississippi, the areas where we're not seeing any growth, instead of just focusing on Madison County, Rankin County, Meridian, Northeast Mississippi, the Golden Triangle. Getting the Delta up and running, getting an economic development alliance on the Gulf Coast, getting the Pine Belt running.
If there's one thing that I believe that Kevin and I would be agreement on, we could benefit from somebody at the helm who was a good businessman.
Well, and he's a very good businessman.
Yeah.
One of his holdups, and you know, I don't even agree that it might be a holdup, though, because I know people that have said, well, I don't know, though, he's Mormon, so I don't know if I could vote for a Mormon. I go back to 2012. Mitt Romney won Mississippi and Chris, what was his name? What was his name? That was one of the other, Rick Santorum, was huge in the conservative movement. He was winning states around Mississippi.
Right.
Mississippi went for Mitt Romney.
Sure.
Who's as Mormon as they get.
That's right.
I don't think that would be a guardrail to prevent him.
Largely, a politician's religion is not a huge driver in their policy.
But I think there are other candidates that could get in there and make waves. Attorney General Lynn Fitch being the attorney general that overturned Roe versus Wade, that would get her a lot of political capital.
Sure.
Now, it would get her a lot of flack, a lot of pushback on the Democratic side, but on the Republican side, she'd hook a lot of people in who are single issue voters on abortion. She'd have them all. And then I know Agriculture Commissioner Andy Gibson was the first to toss his cowboy hat in the ring, and maybe he could galvanize some of the more evangelical spheres of Mississippi, because he is a minister and he talks about his faith routinely. And honestly, it's a free for all. If State Auditor Shad White gets in it, and if there's other people, a former House Speaker Philip Gunn might be running. You know, and Delbert Hosemann could be running, but I don't know if I don't see him doing it. But there are a lot of options, or there will be a lot of options for 2027. But if anybody stood out to me as a viable candidate, it would be Tommy Duff.
And another one that you mentioned there, Shad is popular with what everything he's been doing to get funds back and to punish those who were wrongfully taking that money.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of that stuff wasn't publicized probably in the past, but he's done a good job, at least, of letting us know what's going on in that office.
Right.
Really, in recent memory, I can't think of another person who's been in his position that's done as good a job. At least at publicizing what they're doing.
He's returned more money to the public than any other state auditor in Mississippi history, or he's uncovered more misspent public funds than any other state auditor in Mississippi.
Well, man, it's been great having you here. Kevin, you got anything else for?
No, not that I can think of. We won't hold you up anymore if you got to go, but we appreciate you coming by.
Yeah, I got 5 o'clocks to do. So y'all listen to 97.3 if you're in the Jackson area, Super Talk, and I'll be on the radio.
We will, buddy.
Well, good seeing you, man.
Later, gentlemen. Y'all be good. Be blessed.
Thank you, man.
Yep. We'll see you Sunday probably.